point, so. Who's leading? No, I can't say that. Can't be bothered. Oh, yeah. Split to stream is up. I don't think anyone's gonna join the stream yet. I'm just gonna add these guys as commentary notes, just in case. Yeah, Infinite Octane is leading, so that's cool. Infinite Octane, Infinite Octane is get boosted, right? Yeah, get boosted. Then we've got VRD Basinadalda. Lane is Transatlantic. Snipes. Yeah, V2 Esports. Don't know what this team is. There should be Speed Buddy Racing, right? What was it? Number 911. Yeah, it's just one community racing. Raven in one community. Yeah, one community. Wendigo is a 7R. A 7R. That's MRO. MRO. Somebody joined the stream. I think that's just me, to be fair. This should be Speed Buddy Racing, right? Two Panda logos. I think team 910. This should be. Yep, Speed Buddy Racing. Quixie. Speed Buddy Racing. Fresh is in BRT. Where's the racing team? Gov Race Asylum. DMR in. Sorry, not DMR. ARX. ARX in DMR Endurance. Petrolhead in Rad. I think Maz is. Can't remember the team. Hold on. So that's Full Throttle Racing? Yeah? No. Porsche. It's not Aero V2. Maz. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Full Throttle Racing. Maz Full Throttle Racing. I should get going. Oh god. Hold on. Get boosted. Oh, shit. Yeah, I think I should get ready. I think this is all the teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. 13, just missing one. Who is it? 10-10's right. It's 10-10's. Set for 10-10's. Racing. There we go. Oh, yeah. Alright. Where the hell is Lane? No, not Lane. Get boosted. There we go. You should be the first one to go, if I'm not wrong. I'm just gonna drink some tea while I'm at it. I have to remember there's a delay, so somebody could probably hear me humming the theme for Hurricane. I'm just gonna wait until everybody starts and gets into the stream, and I'll start commentating properly. Get boosted via fuels up. And he's gonna change his tires. It's gonna be a change of tires, and comes out of the pits easy. So, Infinite Octane Racing leading the race, leading. Yeah, there's Ray. Hello, Ray. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Ray. Hello. Bonjour. Hola. So that's Lane. Are also coming out of the pit lanes. The Transatlantic Racing Team, number 93 Lexus. 10 seconds. 10 seconds is the gap to determine who wins this race here. 10 seconds to make up 2 hours to make up 10 seconds, which could decide the 24-hour of Daytona race winner. Who is the third car coming out of the pit lane here? Just gonna keep it quick with you. If I could get the standings, but I just don't have the standings, unfortunately. Not the proper standings, unfortunately. Just can't see them properly. But a car should fuel up any moment. I think Ray's posted the stream. Now looking at the view account, it's just significant. There's about 2 people just joining in as well. So hello everybody, whoever has joined in. Good to see you guys. Hello, hello, hello. Right. Just currently waiting. While we're waiting, I'm just gonna keep it good. This gap live and available to you guys. P3 in Aero in gold Porsche. Yeah, that's the message I've got from Ray. Thank you very much, Ray. I'll keep him. This is Snipes. Obviously, we saw him in Stint 1. So I'll keep a good close eye on whatever he's doing. P4 is the yellow BMW DMR. Wow. DMR has made up a lot of places then, I think, which is good to know. A very, very consistent team there, especially since from where I woke up. But the top 3 is still basically the same from Infinite Octane with Transatlantic. Obviously, Lame. P5 Pastina for VES. Okay, that's going to be interesting. He's a quick driver. He took qualifying. I know him. He's insane when he wants to be insane. But he takes the time to practice, obviously. That's to say for sure. Lame, we've obviously seen him in Stint 1, putting up an insane performance, getting Transatlantic Racing Team like 40 or something seconds into the lead. Now that lead has been squashed down and they are now in second. However, they still have a fighting chance for the race win here. 10 seconds is the gap to chase, to go after. Looks like V2 has not entered the pits yet, so they are way down. So it's currently only the top 2 on the lead lap, and everyone else are just not there yet, which is kind of shows you the pace and consistency you need to win an event like this in Split 2, let alone Split 1, really. It's tough, and yeah, there's nothing much you can do to it. These two are looking very similar on pace as well, I should note. 44.4 by get boosted, and that's a very quick time off the bat, seeing as, 43s. I think if you're just going to get into the 43s consistently, you are already into that pace of being an alien, and considering you're doing 44 mids, 44 lows already, this with that much high of obviously filling up to a higher amount tells you a perspective which, is going to be tough. I should also say V2 Esports Snipes gets out of the pit lane, and I'm sorry for the mistake there. Snipes was not the one who did Stint 1. That was someone else. don't know what Stint Snipes has done, but I think he should also be a very decent driver for V2 Esports. I think he's only had one job, and that's to just bring the car home, because the gap looks very big from him to P4, who I believe P4 is the yellow BMW DMR. Should be coming out soon, but still in the pit lane, so you can see how big that gap really is between Snipes and DMR. I think the main focus for this stint will be between the battle here in between second and first. Obviously, being the lead lap is, after like 22 hours of racing, is quite special. We have especially even getting a battle at some point is very special. But if you're gonna stay in the lead lap after 22 hours of racing, especially even being about 40 or 50 seconds between each other, that's very special. So being 11 seconds it puts the pressure on both of these drivers to deliver and bring home a good result for their team. The pressure is on, and it's up to the drivers to see what they can do with the current pressure they have right now. DMR is out of the pit lane. They are in P4. So P4, DMR, currently about a minute and 31 seconds behind V2 Esports. Currently not been lapped yet, so they're on the same lap as, I believe, V2 Esports. But if you look at the gap, that is significantly very large, and they could be. I mean, if Snipes has got the pace, he can lap them. VRT Christina Calder, not shortly after, goes right into the battle, into the track, and someone also is going out. There we go, Quakesy. Quakesy, I believe Quakesy. This is for Speed Buddy Racing. Out of the pit lane, P6, P5. Gaps are really close, and it's good to see. Obviously, two RCFs, so they are going to be in an equal fight, equal pace, maybe, and to see what could potentially happen is going to be interesting between these two here. Let's go back to DMR for a second. DMR currently 43 seconds ahead of, then it'll be Gulf racers. So good comeback from Race Asylum there, from what I've seen from Stint 1 there. Gulf, Das, so that's all. That's the teams that are coming out. I'm going to pinpoint my focus towards DMR for a second. DMR currently 43 seconds ahead of VRT, but however, if you want to remember this, Christina Calder was the driver that took qualifying for VRT, and he's quite quick as well. I will admit, I have raced him, and he is not a slacker. So do not underestimate, and do not take VRT out of the picture yet, because they could easily close up that gap. It may look big, but 43 seconds, anything can happen, even in 2 hours. Obviously, after 22 hours of racing, having a gap, having these cars in their own lap, and just not being that close still, it's quite entertaining. Currently, the closest gap we have right now is between Quexy and Christina Calder. So, if Christina Calder is bound to make a mistake, like how we did there in turn 1, Quexy can just destroy that gap and potentially get P5 for Speed Buddy Racing, which would be a great start to the season for them. It would be a great result as well. They'll be fresh in the Poison Racing team. I don't know what's happened to the Poison Racing team. I think they just fell out of the order in some places. Oh, what happened to S7R? That's interesting. So S7R is quite low down the field, so I think they've also had some issues as the race has gone on. But yeah, the main fight is probably going to be between Christina Calder, Quexy, and if Christina Calder can close up the gap to DMR, it's going to be a fight for P4. And obviously, we also have to look at the gap between these two who are on the lead lap. Assuming which one picks up the pace, which one loses the pace, it's all down to them, and the team is relying on them to get this win here. Obviously, P2 is, even if even if one of these teams get P2, it's still an amazing start of the season. As his not colleague is a 5 cents penalty, and I should focus on Gulf instead, as he's just come out of the pit lane. Race Asylum I believe this is number 1 team. Race Asylum number 1 in the Corvette number 9. PRT had a disconnect in the night. I see. That's unfortunate. Yeah, disconnects are just one of the few things that really happen in this race, in these types of races. Obviously, I think we had a mass disconnect, going right into the night stint, if I remember correctly. So it's a common occurrence, and it's, if you're gonna race endurances, it's bound to happen at some point. You can't just tell your teammates to get a new internet service provider, because it also happens with the game as well. And we just try to make the racing as good as possible. Really, that's all Gran Turismo is about. Then it will be petrolhead races. Hello Hansa, welcome to the chat, mate. Mad Daz for MRL comes out in the GTR. MRL doing a very good, consistent job. I believe they've been in the same position as they've been in as I've left from Stint 1, and that's good to see. That's good to hear. MRL again, one of the favorites. It's not been the greatest race for them, but they have done the job they needed to do. Obviously, they have a GTR, which is not as... Yeah, MRL have just been super consistent to just have those clean laps, and then that's all you can have, and then you can just overtake the others easily there. And that's good to see them doing as well as they could. Obviously, the GTR is not as competitive in this field, in this scenario, not having enough top speed, really, to battle the other cars. But, yeah, for sure, I mean... And I think as long as you can just keep a clean laps, and you'll be good, and you'll be in that fight always. And they are in that fight, as I believe it's a minute or 7 seconds gap to Gulf. Obviously, it's going to be hard to knock that gap down, and it's going to be interesting to see how this pace collides. But I think that they do have a comfortable gap to P9. Almost, I think that's about a lap ahead of P9. So I think the job MRL now have is just to close it's just to do your job, do your laps, and bring it home. P8 is still good points. Can do in the season, because people, they're gonna have some strong races, some people they will not. So anything can happen, and that's just a factor of endurance racing, really. Believe then it should be it should be PRT, which, yep, there they are, fueling up, changed tires, I believe. So in that RCF again, number 46, sorry, going out of the pit lane. I think they've got a comfortable. I think they can do it. I think they're pretty comfortable here. P9, obviously P9 is not what you want in this scenario, but I think considering what they've had to go through, I think, again, even if you've not had the greatest results so far into this race or out of this race, you can pick up what you've got, and you can just look forward to the next few rounds. And it pretty much goes for everyone who's not had the greatest race, and that's, as I say, that SNR is coming out. S7R were, I believe, P3 or P2 coming in the Stint 1, and they've just not had the greatest race. Looking at that, so I think RAD is coming out. Rad is also coming out of the pit lane. Petrolhead, the number 77, the number 777 BMW. The gap is 12 seconds, so that's pretty close. Obviously, S7R not having the greatest race. They've had the pace. You can't deny that they haven't had the pace, but obviously, I think problems in the night stint could just catch you off guard, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, everything can change in just a matter of 20 hours, like I said before. and they're still in the fight in some cases scenario, but they will have to massively overpace PRT if they want to get P9 at the minimum. Obviously, it's a very big gap, and it's hard to say what you can do with that gap. It's hard to say if you can close it really. But I think the job now is just for these drivers to just pick up the pieces, pick up the places, and then just bring it home. That's all. That's all it's about. I should also say Rad, coming out into P11. Again, it's not been the strongest track for them. Obviously, that is going towards the car they've had right now. The BMW is not one of the strongest cars for Daytona. It just doesn't have the straight line speed as the other cars like the RCF or the Corvette would, and that just puts them on the disadvantage. They're still somewhat in the fight with Wendigo here with S7R if they want to get a top 10, and I think top 10 scores points, if I'm not wrong, Ray, or is it just everyone scores points? Yeah, the BMW will come good in the other rounds, that's for sure. I believe Bathurst is the next track on the calendar, so and that's a very, very strong track for the BMW. Obviously, mid-speed corners is where the BMW really comes alive, like Bathurst and Nürburgring. Just the amount of downforce it has in that scenario can just really help it come alive, and then it's just a beast in that scenario. There's nothing much to it. The BMW will fly, exactly. The tracks that are not great for the BMW and GTR, like this one, they're just going to come alive in tracks like Bathurst and N24. And it'll be exciting to see what type of performance teams like Rad and teams like MRL could put up when the car is at their strongest and peak performance. Especially when you see so many RCF, because I believe RCF should just not have. Well, they'll be great. I think RCFs are just great all around it in this scenario. But the thing is, even if it's an all arounder, there's still some tracks that it will be strong in, and there's always tracks that it's going to be weak at. So you can't put it out of the picture, but at the same time, it's down to the drivers and it's down to the work they put in with the car they've been given, and that's all they can do about it. Same thing goes for drivers that want to pick. Yeah, shame there's no audio. Lambo at the Bathurst. Yeah, I think MR cars are just not gonna. They're just not a favorite in this calendar so far, and that's for a good reason. Speaking of MR cars, here's the Porsche of, I believe this is the Porsche of, I check out my notes, Full Throttle Racing, coming out of the pit lane in P12. MR cars are just not strong enough, and that just puts them in a scenario where they can't really compete as well as the FRs would. I think it's also down to downforce tuning, maybe putting them at a slight disadvantage, because again, you're gonna have to put a little bit more downforce on the rear to stop it from sliding as well in some scenarios, assuming there's preferences to what people would like or not like in their cars. So that's for sure. It's difficult to say what you could do with the cars you've been given. Obviously, these drivers they wanted their choices, and I think if you're just gonna go for a car like a Porsche, it's a very safe option. Again, a Porsche like the RCF is a good all-arounder, but it's not as competitive, and you can see why the RCF is a favorite then. Speaking of the RCF, Raven, and I believe this is Raven in the One Community Racing team coming out in P13. So 13 seconds is a gap right now to Maz. They've just come out right neck and neck to each other. For some reason, the livery for Maz hasn't loaded yet, except the others have. I don't know if that's just I think that's just a me issue, to be fair. So there's not a lot I could do about it. It's a shame that's happened. One community SBR. Okay, I don't know what the SBR stands for, but otherwise they were victims of a disconnect earlier too. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Again, disconnects are just a thing that you can't like predict and you can't control. And yeah, it's just what happens. I think if you're just putting in a good stint for your team, I think that's just all you could do about it. No crashes, just consistent lap times. I think that's all you can do for your team. Disconnects is out. Speed Buddy Racing, but they're the sister team. Oh, okay, all right. That puts it into perspective because these two guys, these two teams have very similar-ish liveries if you look at it. I believe this is Speed Buddy Racing. You can see that they have like the panda on the side, and then if you look at One Community Racing, they also have that panda trademark there. That's good to see. I was wondering about it and why their liveries look similar, and that explains it a lot. Hansa says, "So proud of my team's performance. What a recovery!" Yeah, you can. I think that's always something to be proud of for Race Asylum. Obviously, you don't want to crash into your first stint or whatever you've got going on in your stints, and I think if you can recover that well, it's just very good for you. P7, all of the teams score points. Yeah, I forgot to read that message. But P7 is going to be good points for them, and it's going to be a good start to the season. The comeback has been strong. Yeah, exactly. I do wonder how this is going to affect the other parts of Race Asylum season, however. Obviously, the Corvette is still a strong car, regardless of even if you consider the fact that Daytona might be the strongest track. The Corvette is still a very, very strong car when it comes to this fact that it just flies on the straight compared to anything else, and it really has helped. It really has helped the team here, and having an advantage like that, it helps to come back and it helps to just put the momentum forward for the team here. And again, I think the Corvette is just a good choice as well because it's obviously going to be strong in tracks where you can use that torque to your advantage. And yeah, and I think even with that, the Race Asylum team has done incredible when it comes to consistency because to go from the last or to go from P12 and come back all the way to P7 into the top half is not it's not an easy feat. It's really not an easy feat. I mean, if you ask somebody to do that, it's just if you ask any team to do that, they maybe sometimes they can't do it, and even to get a performance or something of that caliber, it's good. It's good for that team, and I'm sure Ray, I'm sure Hansa, you guys are very proud of what you guys have accomplished here with Race Asylum. Can you show the gap between P1 and P2? Absolutely, mate. 15 seconds is the gap right now. So obviously we were talking about this battle. I was talking about this battle happening between P1 and P2. Very good times posted by both of these cars here. Both teams have dipped into the 43s. But if you look at the lap times of Get Boosted here, he's doing consistent 43s, and that's incredible lap times. Those are the type of lap times you'd see in Stint 1. Not Stint 1, sorry, Split 1. With the competitive, with more faster guys. Well, you should say faster guys, but, even if you are in Split 2, it's always an opportunity to prove yourself on if you are quicker, And as you can see by that, it does prove how quick they are. Because 43s consistently is just incredible when it comes to this late in the stint as well. I think. Hold on, let me just check the team name. Sorry about that. I think Get Boosted, and I think Infinite Octane are going to be very happy about that. Sorry about that blunder there. It took me a long time to think the team name, but I've got it. Infinite Octane are just going to be very happy with that, with what with what they're seeing right now. That gap has went from 10 seconds to 15 seconds now, and yeah, I think Get Boosters is doing exactly the job he's been asked to do for the last stint he's been given. If you just look at how he's pushing throughout these corners here, he's just pushing pushing the car to the limit. Yeah, both Infinite and Transatlantic, yeah. It's almost like they're kind of like, oh, they're almost basically teams that are, if not, they're just teams that are almost at that caliber of being close to like Split 1, if you could say that. Obviously, I know Transatlantic Racing did not register for pre-qualifying. That's why they're in Split 2. But did Infinite Octane go for pre-qualifying? Either way, it's good to see the pace from both of these cars, and this is definitely Split 1 worthy type of performance they've put up. I think if these guys were in Split 1, they would do a fantastic job themselves, regardless of what the result would be. And it's just exactly what you want to see the top of Split 2. Yeah, Infinite did pre-quali. Yeah, thank you for that, Nick. Yeah. I think, yeah, if you're just gonna, it's just the fact that you just get unlucky sometimes. But it's good to see them putting up such a great performance into Split 2 here. Obviously, you get unlucky sometimes with pre-qualifying, and that's what happened. That's what happened to a couple of teams here. DRT, V2 Esports, I think they were in pre-qualifying. Race Asylum #1, all these teams got eliminated in pre-qualifying, got into Split 2, but still, even if you're in Split 2, you can still do a great, amazing job here. Let's go to 10 Tenths Racing for a second. 10 Tenths Racing, just not the weekend for them, unfortunately. But you can't just help but root for them also, even if it's not been their weekend. They're a really amazing team. Really nice guys as well. Just it's good to see what the determination they have, even after not having the weekend they would want. The determination to just continue and finish the 24 hours. You've got to applaud. Yeah, you just got to applaud that determination that they have. To just finish the race at P14, even if it's, and I think it's just that motivation just to keep going and to keep going and going. I think it's just gonna help them in the season going forward. Sure, it's not been the race for them, and they are not. It's not been great, but if you can keep your chins up, if you can look forward to the next few rounds. Yeah, it's a long season ahead. You can always come back from it, and that's for sure. You're right about that, Ray. Also, I should also read the comment. Aero GT has done a great job too. The guys have been super consistent after getting insane penalties and being taken out, and managed to get P3. Yep, I should probably fast forward to that. Aero GT with the Porsche. The Porsche is not one of the strongest tracks. It's not one of the strongest cars, I should say. Sorry. It's not one of the strongest cars on the for Daytona. The straight line speed performance is not there compared to the other cars on the grid. And you could see that when it came to how it would overtake other cars into turn 1 or going into the chicane, it was just not strong enough. But I think with the job that V2 Esports have done, even with this disadvantage, is incredible. To stay P3 and to continue to stay P3, it's been an incredible job, and you can't say they shouldn't have not been there with these guys here in P1 and P2. It's just a bit of unluckiness that could cut them off, but even still, it is going to be pretty much a confirmed podium with about a 1 minute and 31 second gap. GT45 says, "Good luck, finishers. See you next week. I'm out. I've had as much as my brain can handle today. Good job, GT45. with the 10 Racing team. Good job, mate. Obviously, it's not been a race that your team needed, but I'm glad. It's good to see you guys keep going. It's good to see you guys have that determination to keep going, and I love that. You guys did a great job out there for this race. Snipes, and I should go back, and I should just go back to the battle between P5 and P6 here. The gap has closed down significantly between Hasina and Quixie here. Speed Buddy Racing may look to be getting P5 in this potential circumstance. If you look at the lap times here, both of these cars have quite a similar pace, but you can see little by little Quixie is closing that gap down. And that gap has gone from 5 seconds to about 2.4, and could be even better, you know. Either way, what else have we got here? It's not a lot of battles going on, that's for sure, and that's expected to be seen after 22 hours, 23 hours of racing. Pacina Calder with a new personal best there, 43.8. Good job by him there. Obviously, dipping into the 43s is exactly what you need. Nick says, apparently the fastest lap now has been 43.4, which is insane. Which is insane for Split 2 there. That is a really good lap time. I wonder who set that though, because it would be interesting to see who set that lap time. Obviously this lap time in Split 1 was, I believe, somewhere around the 42s. But 43 lows is still an incredible lap time, and it's blistering quick in the Split. Yeah, we can see GT45. It's just not been the greatest. But again, if you can keep your heads down and it's all up to it's a long season ahead, mate. So you know, it's just you guys have the power to keep going, and you guys can definitely do that. And there's a lot of respect coming from everyone towards 1010s there. There's a lot of respect, and I think everyone respects the fact that and the decision of you guys to keep going and to just keep pushing forward. So I should also look at a certain battle here, which has also been closed down, the gap, and it's between Maz and Raven. Actually, it's not been closed down, because I think Raven in that one community racing car has already overtaken Maz in the full throttle racing Porsche, and that is going to be extra points, and that's going to be a position gained for Raven. So it's a good job by him. It's a good job. I think you're getting that position early on, 10 laps in. All you have to do right now is just bring it home, and I think it's going to be a good result. It's going to be good stuff. Extra points, nothing to complain about, and they can just bring it home and look forward to battles. I should also go back to the battle between P1 and P2. Gap has been slightly reduced there. Both of these guys, they are setting blistering lap times so far. 44s, dipping into the 43s as well. And the gap has been reduced to that gap has been from 15 seconds to about 14.5, so about a 5/10 or so reduction there. Can show P10 for a bit. Yeah, sure, mate. Wendigo S7R about 20 seconds ahead of Rad and 59.7 seconds to PRT. I think that gap has reduced, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, so I had to just look at that gap for a second, that lap times for a second. Sorry about that, but yeah, I think Wendigo's doing the job that he needs to do, and it's just to bring it home now. And it's good to see what they've accomplished now. S7R is a strong team, you can't deny that. and obviously having those disconnects is just not. It's just not been great. Gonna go back to the gap battle between here. Yep, you're all good, mate. Good to see you. Good to see you here, Ricardus. I don't know how to pronounce your name properly. I don't know. But Ricardus, good to see you here, mate. And it's good to see the support for your team, Aserna. Obviously, a very good team. And see what you guys can do in Barces then. It's obviously a smaller race, and you guys are gonna have a lot more pace, for sure. Good stint as well. Pastina Calda 2.7, so that gap is still reducing, but Pastina Calda is keeping up, and the gap is now somewhat of the same here, as you can see. It's not reducing or increasing at the moment, and you can see why, because of overall consistency between these two drivers, obviously. And it's crucial for them not to make any more silly mistakes. Not really silly mistakes, but to just not make mistakes overall in terms of missing an apex or going wide or just spinning out. None of those mistakes. Just keep the car going and just set your laps. Just you can make it to the end and you can get the result for your team. P5 for both of these guys will be an incredible start to the season, obviously. And obviously it's a long season ahead. Daytona, I believe there's extra points for 24-hour races compared to the shorter races, if I'm not wrong, Ray. I'm just gonna wait for you to respond to that because I'm not sure about on that aspect. But otherwise, if that is the case, then I think it's not Calda. I think any of these teams getting P5, P6, P5, P6, it's great. It's a great result, and well, it's not much to say except you're getting strong points for your team to start off the season, and it's all about keeping up that momentum going into the next few rounds. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what realistically happens here. I want to eat some chips, but I'm not gonna distract myself from what I'm seeing right now, and I'm gonna keep you guys entertained as much as I can, since that's my job. That's for sure. So yeah, don't think there's much for me to commentate on either, because again, even though the gaps are quite small in some aspects, or how do I say it? It's also big in the other ones. If you're looking at if you're looking at certain gaps to the leaders here, you can see I can't quite know how many laps down they are because it only says in minutes, but I believe even P3 is 2 laps or so down from the leaders, which really shows you the perspective. Also, Snipes going purple sector 3 there by 2 milliseconds. I wonder if he can keep up this momentum going out of the chicane. Is it going to be good enough? No, 3 tenths down. But that's still a pretty good lap. That's a pretty good lap. Going purple there, just a bit squirrely on the chicane, and yeah. See if we can try again. Obviously, I also want to see if some teams are gonna go for a strategy where they are gonna pit for the fastest lap. We have seen that strategy happen in Split 1 with some teams, I believe their quickest drivers just pitting, going for some new fresh soft tires, and trying to find slipstream also, and then going for the best lap they can. And the best lap we saw in Split 1 was a 42.5, I believe. which was blistering quick. I think, yeah, I think I would sell my leg to have a lap time like that, honestly. But honestly, I think if that is a strategy, what some of these Split 2 drivers are gonna take, I wonder what the lap time would be for Split 2. Any predictions in the chat? What the fastest lap time is gonna be if certain teams do take that strategy and do take that approach? Um, I would love to know that. I should also concentrate here. Get boosted via for the Infinite Octane team, going for his first pit stop. Obviously, a little bit less fuel than what Lane here has. That's gonna help Lane catch up a little bit, just a tiny bit in terms of the gaps. Let's reduce that gap a bit. So, fresh new tires and some new fuel should be going, or should be a regular two-stopper for all these cars here. I think all the cars here have gone for their two-stoppers, like they did before. It would be interesting to see if Rada going for the same strategy they did still into Stint 1, where they went for the mediums and then the softs, and that worked out really good actually for them. Because they jumped from, I believe they were into the fight in like P12, P11, and then they jumped to like P7, which was insane. I wonder if they can use that strategy to get Wendigo here. Hey JP, hello. JP, good to see you, mate. Just point out to what Race Asylum is doing if you want to check this out, JP. P7 currently, and Gov is doing some ridiculously good lap times. I think Gov has been a good highlight for Race Asylum. If you want to look at that, because he's doing some crazy good lap times for when it comes to this scenario. 44.0 has been his fastest lap time, and he's just constantly and consistently keeping it into the 44s. There's not much you could ask from him, I think. Look at that consistency, exactly. And as I say that, he's got a 0.5. Ray, you jinxed him. You jinxed him, Ray. Come on. You jinxed your own team. That's unnecessary. Anyway, I Jaegered him, exactly. But other else, Snipes coming in for his pit stop now for V2 Esports. 9 liters of fuel, so I think he's just been conserving his fuel pretty nicely. So it's good to see that. I mean, yeah, Snipes has just one job to do, and this is to bring the car home, and he's doing that perfectly, amazingly. It's gonna be fresh new tires. Just get a tank of fuel, and then he can go out and have a nice day for the next few laps, I hope. And keep it consistent, obviously. I don't want to... let's hope that the commentator curse doesn't strike. If the commentator curse even applies to me. I know it applies to Jaeger, but... don't know if it's going to happen to me as well, but... Oh well. Let's hope not. Let's hope not. But yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. Oh, Ost. Hello, Ost. Hello. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you here, mate. Oh, somebody's off. That's interesting. That is Maz that's gone off into turn. He's gone off into turn 6 there. That's fortunate. Just laid on the brakes and forgot and just locked up. Yeah, nothing much you could do, and just lost a little bit more time compared to Raven. But I think his gap is big enough to just bring it home, so he should be fine. It should be a bit of a relaxing drive from Maz, I should say. Nothing for him to worry about in that scenario. See also blue flags appearing for some cars here as well. Should also check the gaps between P1 and P2. Obviously after the pit stops they've done. Gap has now gone from 15 seconds to 14.2. So obviously, I think just the 2 liters extra fuel that lane has just closed the gap down by a tiny bit. Gap's now 14.4, and that's really good to see here. It's really good to see how consistent or how quick lane is gonna go here. It would be interesting to see how much he pushes in this scenario. Speaking of, I'm just gonna quickly go to Quixie, and I'm just gonna see what type of strategy he's going for here. Quixie going for the undercut on Pasina Calda here, for a potential undercut, I should say. Pitting lap 24. Obviously, the pit window has opened for everyone, so it will be interesting to see how this works out in the scenario for Quixie. Or is the undercut still powerful? Okay, can Pasina Calda just hold on to the overcut? Let's see. Potentially. Might go either way. Chunky, hello Chunky. I believe you are from the Octane team. Good to see you here, mate. Good to see you. Your team is doing amazing. You did an amazing job in your stints. Good job, mate. And it's good to see you here, mate. DMR coming in for their stop. Just freshen the tires. It's a little bit more just fueling up, and again on their schedule 2 stopper. Gov also going in for a scheduled pit stop there. Lap 23. It's a smart decision because obviously you're not going to finish the 70 lapper stint. It's always better to just pit a little bit earlier, just in case. Obviously, it's one of the advantages that some of these cars are not going to make it to lap 70, lap 69. Is the advantage that these cars have, and you can just pit earlier, and you can get a bit of an advantage on your scenario, on this scenario here. Fresh, hold on, let me just go to his POV. Fresh, hello, here he is. Fresh, quite great. He's doing great lap times, consistent 44s, nothing much you could ask. And he's just gonna bring the car home, I think. He has a good enough gap to just not fear about S7R for now, unless he makes a few mistakes, which I hope he doesn't. And yeah, he's just doing good. There's nothing much you can ask from him. And good to see you here, Walter. Good to see you. Daz going in for his pit stop for the MRL team. Again, pit stop and fuel like normal. That's all you need to know. Okay, Quixie has just made a bit of a mistake going a little bit wide there, so gap has opened up a little between both of these guys here. Went from about 2.5 to about 3, so that's interesting to see how the strategy has benefited both of these cars here. Obviously, Pasina Calda has finally done a pit stop. Undercut not quite working for Speed Body Racing, but still the gap is very close, and you can't deny that. Whew. Right. Another good lap time by Get Boosted there. 43.6. Oh my god. He's just about 2/10 from the potential fastest lap. And that brings me to the question of, can we see a new fastest lap this stint? I think obviously the answer is yes, because there are going to be some teams that are going to take the approach of pitting again right before, because they have such a big gap. Obviously, I don't think some teams like Infinite Octane or Transatlantic would take that approach because of the gap they have. I mean, you just don't want to risk it in that case. Yeah, and yeah, there's not much. There's no unnecessary risks you need to take there. Snipes could do it. Looking at the gap, it's good enough for pitting and then going for a potential fastest lap, and I think he definitely does have the pace as he's dipped into the 43s in some scenario. Obviously, he will also need the slipstream to help that Porsche in the straight line, but I think I think as long as he can get a sector 1, sector 2, that's good enough. He should be good. So it could be interesting to see if he's going for the approach. Alex, I should say his name. I think maybe he has the approach, but obviously he has to be careful with Christian Calder. Christian Calder can't do it. He has that gap of 2 seconds. And same thing goes for Quexy. I don't think that there's a reason for them to do it. Gov could do it. Gov could take a potential fastest lap if he wants to pit and get that point. I think, how many points is it for the fastest lap? About what, 3 points, 2 points, Ray? I don't know. You have to confirm with me on that because I don't know. I could not read the rule book, unfortunately. Unless if I pull it up right now, but then that's just gonna distract me. Yeah, there's a lot of cars also in the back that can go for that potential fastest lap. They do have the pace also to go for that. Yeah, 3 points. Yeah, that's gonna help the cars in P10, P11 to just pit, go for the fastest lap, and get the fastest lap. That's gonna be 3 extra points for all of them. It just depends because it just depends on how their pace is gonna be. Because 43.4 is not. It's not an easy time to beat. It's not an easy time to beat. Let's be honest. When it comes to the scenario for Split 2 here, it's a very hard. Even for more talented drivers, 43.4 is an incredibly quick lap time, especially on race conditions. So it will be interesting to see how that works out. Yeah. Alright, good to see you here, Hijack Paddy. Good job for Transatlantic Racing Team. Obviously, still go Transatlantic Racing Team. I've just gone purple sector 1 there. That's interesting to see. Lane could go for potentially a fastest lap. Need to get sector 2 and 3 here though. Just go on board for a second, see this lap. Will be interesting to see how this works out. Glad to see the chat very active here. Just giving praises, and I'm happy to see that. It's always lovely to see and you guys talk, and obviously talk to the commentators. Sorry, I just had a small issue. Sorry about that. I just had a small issue. Just had a small issue there. I think it should be fine. I hope, I pray